Sometimes we are wondering what powers our world, like from the lights in our room to the cars on the road. Everything in this world runs. So, like what I've said, we're wondering why, how, and what's make it run. So, what do you think is it? Do you also think it is energy? Ended. Everything runs on energy. However, what if I told you that the way we're getting our energy is causing some big problems? Yeah, it's true, and it's happening. I know my other group mate already mentioned about energy in their discussion of climate change. And we are aware naman, di ba, that one of the primary energy sources is fossil fuels. Using coal, oil, and gas a lot is making the earth get warmer. And that's causing some serious issue for making energy everywhere. I'm not sure if my group mate also already mentioned this, but a recent study said that by 2040, the water might get too hot to make energy, and if there's not enough water for power plants, it's going to be hard to keep up with how much energy people need. So this is big deal, guys, because some plants need water a lot and others need heat. And also they are saying that these plants might less or might make less electricity between 2040 and 2069. But there's a silver lining because countries are looking for other ways to make energy, like using sunlight, wind, and plants. They are also trying to save energy and work together to use it better. So, diyan iikot ang lesson natin ngayon. And gusto kong kayong tanungin kung ano yung naramdaman nyo sa issue na yon na nahaharap natin ngayon. A bit worried, di ba? But that's okay because today we're diving into a topic that affects us all, the energy crisis. Napakabig nito, but together we can find solution and move towards a brighter and more sustainable energy future. So again, good day everyone. And are you ready na ba to learn more? Okay, so let's embark on a journey to explore the energy crisis, the alternative sources of energy, and towards towards a more sustainable energy future. Yan. So here's the content outlining the key topics we'll be exploring today. So let's delve deeper into our discussion. Yan. So we will we will tackle about the energy or energy sources, then the energy crisis, then the alternative energy sources, and lastly, yan, towards a more sustainable energy future. So yon. Now that we've set the stage, let's start with four key facts about energy that lay the foundation for our understanding. Okay, so we have the first one about energy. So imagine energy as the power to make things happen, like making our toy car move or our home light, your flashlight shine, yung ganon. So it's everywhere around us, hiding in different form. Like when you eat food, that's stored energy, di ba? Or when you turn on light, that's electrical energy. So, parang ano lang yan, yung energy can change its outfit, but it never disappear. For instance, kapag tayo kumain ng isang bagay, our body turns it into stored energy, into the energy that we need to run around. Yon. Or kapag naman pinindot mo yung light switch, so electrical energy transform into light energy. So brightening up the room or the dark surfaces. Yon. So, yung energy parang superhero natin to that can change its costume whenever it's needed. So, it's pretty amazing, di ba, how it power our world in so many different ways. From our homes cozy to moving huge machine and many more. Yun. Then the second one, now that we've got the basics down, let's talk about why sustainable energy is important. So bakit nga ba? Sustainable energy is like the backbone of our thriving nation. So kapag ang isang country invests in sustainable energy sources like wind, solar, or hydroelectric power, parang nag-invest na din sila ng um, um, para sa kanilang future prosperity and development, di ba? Like, um, for example, first, yung sustainable energy nakakatulong sa pag-protect ng environment, hindi kagaya ng fossil fuels, which produce harmful emission when burned. So, yung sustainable energy sources is nakakapag-generate ng clean power without polluting the air or water. Yon. So, this means healthier communities and a safer planet for everyone. Yon. A sustainable and reliable source of energy of the country shows its prosperity and development. Yun yun. And also, in addition pala, sustainable energy promotes economic growth. So yon, by harnessing renewable sources within a country's border, so na-reduce nito ang dependence natin on expensive imported fuels. So this keeps money circulating within the local economy, creating jobs and stimulating industry related to renewable energy. Yon. Then the third one, as stated by the U.S. Energy Information Administration, there are primary energy sources. We have first fossil fuels like coal, oil, natural gas, or I mean oil or petroleum. So these are the old school ways of getting energy, but they come with some big problems. So kapag 'di ba sinusunog natin ito, it releases a lot of pollution into the air, which isn't good for the planet. Then we have also the nuclear energy. So, galing ito sa splitting atoms and it's super powerful, but it also comes with risk like sa accident and dealing with radioactive waste. Then lastly, we have the good stuff, renewable energy. So, itong energy na to, galing ito sa mga bagay na hindi nauubos like the sun, winds, and water. It's clean, guys, and it's green. And also, it's the future of energy. Yon. Then the last one, let's dive deeper into the understanding energy sources. Here, matatakal natin about how we categorize these sources. First up, we have the renewable energy sources. So these are the ones that won't run out, like sunlight, wind, and even the heat from the earth. Yun. They are constantly replenished by nature, so we can use them again and again without worrying about running low. So on the flip side, we have non-renewable energy sources. So ito, mga ano to, energy that one can we can't replace once we use them up. So kagaya nito yung fossil fuels like yung coal, oil, and natural gas na kapag sinunog natin ito, they gone for good at least in our lifetime, ganon. Okay? And all right, buckle up, guys, because we're diving into the pretty serious topic, the energy crisis. Ayan. Now, when we talk about energy crisis, we're basically saying that there's a big problem with how we're getting our energy. So, parang ganito yan. Our world nagre-rely talaga on energy to keep everything running smoothly. From powering our homes to fueling our industries. But here's the kicker. The way we've been getting our energy mainly from fossil fuels, diba? Like coal, oil, and gas, is causing some major issue. So what are these major issues? So the energy crisis is all about the struggle to meet the ever increasing demand for energy while facing the constraint on the availability and sustainability of traditional energy, which is yung fossil fuels nga. So, sa madaling sabi guys, we're using up resources faster than we can replenish them. And it's causing problem everywhere. Now, dig deeper guys. Ang tanong, what really are the causes of the energy crisis? So, tingnan natin kung ano ba ang mga ito. Okay, we have the first one. We've got overpopulation. So, overpopulation or the steady increase in the human population and it puts pressure on energy sources. Kapag nag i-increase yung mga tao, napakaraming tao na naninirahan dito sa planet, there's a greater need for energy to power homes, transportation, industry, and various other aspects of daily life. So, ganon. Parang this increase the demand for energy can strain existing energy infrastructure and resources, kagaya ng fossil fuels, which is matagal na nating ginagamit na primary sources of energy. Ito ay finite, kumbaga limited lang, kumbaga nauubos and nakakapag-contribute to environmental degradation and climate change when burnt, di ba? So, kapag yung population is pa-increase ng pa-increase, the consumption of fossil fuels rises and it leads to greater greenhouse gas emission and exacerbating environmental challenges, di ba? Moreover, meeting the energy needs of growing population can also lead to increased exploitation of natural resources, including the forest, waterways, or wildlife habitats. So this further threatens the biodiversity and ecosystem health. Yon. The next, we've got war and attacks. So, war and conflicts in the Middle East can disrupt the supply of oil. So, di ba sa Middle East, yun yung major source natin ng energy for many, kahit ng ibang bansa around the world. When there's instability in oil producing regions, it can lead to shortage and drive up prices for consumers everywhere, di ba? So this is not only affect the cost of fuels for cars and heating homes, but naapektuhan din ito yung industry na nagre-rely sa paggamit ng energy para makapag-operate. Yes. So to mitigate this risk, yung mga country often diversify their energy sources and invest in renewable energy to reduce dependence on oil from unstable region. Yeah. Ayan. Then there's a major accident and natural calamities. So yung natural disaster like volcanic eruption, floods, an earthquake can damage energy infrastructure and it can disrupt the supply of electricity and fuels. Additionally, yung mga major incident, ito naman to, sir, example nito yung oil spills or nuclear meltdowns na cause ng significant disruption to energy production. So, when this event occurs, syempre, maglilid talaga to sa shortage and drive up energy prices in the global market. Ngayon, to address these challenges, napaka-importante sa mga countries na mag-invest ng resilient energy infrastructure and develop contingency plans to respond to emergency. Yun. And let's not forget overconsumption, 'di ba? So yung ito naman, it happens when we use too much of things like oil, gas, and coal. So, yung mga fossil fuels are burned for energy, but when we use them too much, it can lead to problems. For example, kapag sinunog natin ang mga ito, it releases nga harmful gases that can harm the environment and makakapag-contribute ito sa climate change. Plus, since these resources are finite, using them excessively can lead to shortage in the future. So, to tackle overconsumption, we can switch to cleaner, renewable sources like wind and solar power and also using energy more efficiently. Yon. Another significant causes of energy crisis is poor infrastructure. So, when all the infrastructure is used for energy production, it can limit how much energy we can make. So, yung mga outdated equipment might not work as well or be as efficient as newer technology. So, this can lead to problems like power outages or not having enough energy when we need it. Yun. So, yung iba, para masolusyonan to, we need, parang, kailangan natin talaga mag-invest in updating our infrastructure with newer, more equipped, parang dapat mas more efficient equipment talaga. So, in that way, we can produce more energy and make sure it's reliable and available when we need it. Yeah. And there's there's an explore renewable energy option. So, kapag naman ang mga tao hindi aware sa mga renewable energy option na available, they might end up relying too much on non-renewable sources like yung fossil fuels nga. So, napakarami nating renewable energy option out there like solar, wind, and hydroelectric power. But kung ang mga tao hindi alam ito, hindi talaga 'to parang may magagamit. Kaya importante na ma-educate ang mga tao about this renewable option so we can diversify our energy sources and reduce our dependence on fossil fuels. So in that way, guys, we can move towards a more sustainable and environmentally friendly energy future. Yan. Yan. And don't overlook the delay in commissioning of power plants. So ito naman, kapag ang mga bansa nag-rely lang sa old power plants na na-establish 3 years ago, it can lead to a big gap between the energy they need and the energy they can produce. So this happens because yung mga old power plants might not be able to generate enough electricity to meet the growing demands of the um, population and industry. So, isa sa rason dito for this gap could be the delays in commissioning new power plants. So, kapag mga bansa na hindi nag-invest ng ang building new, more efficient power plants or upgrading existing ones, magkakaroon talaga ng struggle or challenges to keep up with the increasing demand for electricity. Ganon. Okay? Then we've got also wastage of energy. So ito naman, yung pag-iwan natin ng mga ilaw na nakabukas, mga gadget na nakasaksak in when they are not being used and waste a lot of energy. So, nakakadagdag talaga ito sa problema sa energy shortage na kinakaharap natin ngayon. So, it's like parang nagtuthrow lang tayo ng money and resources for no reason. So, to tackle this issue, parang pwede tayong mag-start with small changes at home. Gaya nito, pinabayaan niya nakabukas yung ref kahit tapos na siyang kumuha. Dapat, ugaliin natin na isarado ito kapag tapos nang gamitin. Then, ganun din yung light. Dapat, i-turn off na natin kapag hindi na or aalis na tayo sa bahay. Then, ganun din yung mga unplug ng mga chargers or mga nakasaksak na gadgets sa ating bahay. Nakakatulong din ang paggamit ng mga LED bulbs kasi nakakapag-save ng energy and money din yun. Another causes to the energy crisis is the poor distribution system. So, a poor distribution system for energy can cause frequent trippings and breakdowns. So, kapag yung energy hindi na-distribute efficiently from power plants to home and business, it can lead talaga to disruption in supply. So, this means na more instances of blackouts or power cuts, which can be inconvenient and costly for everyone. So to address naman this issue, napaka-importante na mag-invest tayo ng upgrading and maintaining distribution of infrastructure. So this include na ini-ensure na yung transmission lines, yung mga substation and other components of distribution system are in good condition and capable of handling the demands placed on them. Then, there are miscellaneous factors. So, ito naman ang mga miscellaneous factors to, kagaya ng political events, strike, tax hikes, and severe weather changes can all impact energy supply and contribute to an energy crisis, especially guys if they affect oil producing companies. So, kagaya ng political events, such as conflict or changes in government policy, can disrupt the production and distribution of energy sources. Then yung strike naman or labor disputes within the energy industry can also have production and distribution process leading to shortage. Then yung tax hikes or changes in regulation can affect the cost of energy production and distribution. Yon. Then yung mga severe weather like hurricane, floods, extremes, temperature. So, madadamage nito yung energy infrastructure, causing disruption in supply. Ganon. Then, last, we have critical factor. This is the industrialization. So, ito naman, the rapid growth of industries fueled by technology progress and economic expansion has caused a huge increase in energy use. So, kapag maraming factory or manufacturing processes ang um, are set up, so yung demand nito sa energy parang nagkakaroon ng energy source kumbaga. So while this drives economic growth, it also harms the environment. The industry often produce pollution and use up natural resources at an alarming rate. So this leads talaga to the problems like air and water pollutions, as well as the resource depletion. However, may mga hindi talaga nawawalan ng mga ways para mabalance ang industrial growth with environmental protection. So, hindi talaga yan mawawalan. Yan. Now, na matapos na nating malaman yung mga causes ng energy crisis, let's explore the ripple effects of it. Yeah. We have first diminished energy production. So, one of the significant consequence. So, yung climate change induced disruption like water scarcity and temperature fluctuation and parang nawiwikan nito ang effectiveness of traditional energy production methods. So, parang nagli-lead ito to reduce electricity generation and shortage and supply. Like for instance guys, yung power plants na nagre-rely sa water for cooling, so makakaharap nito yung um, parang magkakaroon ng struggle during times of water scarcity, affecting their ability na makapag-generate ng electricity. And ganun din, parang similar din yun sa extreme temperature na makakaapekto sa efficiency of power plants leading to decreased output. So, etong mga disruption na to highlight the urgent need to transition to more sustainable and resilient energy sources. So, yun. Another critical effect is the environmental degradation. Ito naman, um, nagre-resulta ito from the unchecked extraction, transportation, and combustion of fossil fuels na parang meron talagang severe consequences. So it pollutes the air and water, destroy habitats, and puts biodiversity at risk. So this cumulative impact poses grave risk to the health and resilience of ecosystem. So the extraction of fossil fuels often involves destructive practices like deforestation, habitat destruction, and water contamination. And for addition naman, the transportation of fossil fuels via pipelines or tankers ba yun, poses risk of spills and accident. So, it further harm the environment. Ganon. Kapag naman yung fossil fuels nasunog sa paggawa ng for energy, they releases harmful pollutants such as carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen oxides into the atmosphere. So, itong mga pollutant na to nakaka-contribute talaga sa air pollution, sa smog formation, and the climate change, which have far-reaching impacts on human health, as well as in the environment nga. Next, resource scarcity becomes a pressing concern. Yun. So it looms a significant challenge due to the finite nature of fossil fuels reserves and increasing demand. So this situation threatens energy security and the economic stability. So critical resources like yung oil and natural gas are being depleted rapidly. So parang nagpapakita ito na kailangan natin ng transition to sustainable alternatives. Kumbaga, as fossil fuels reserve dwindle, it become more difficult and expensive to extract remaining resources. Ganon. And makakapag um, parang it leads to higher prices and greater geopolitical, tension as country compete for access to limited supplies. Ganon. Yan. Lastly, there are public health risks to consider. So, yung pagkalat ng pollution caused by burning fossil fuels possess significant public health risk, leading to respiratory illnesses, pwede ding cardiovascular disease, and premature deaths. So, yung mga vulnerable groups nito is yung mga children, the elderly, the marginalized communities. Yun yung particular talagang naapektuhan nitong um, issue na to. Like kapag yung mga fossil fuels, kapag sinunog natin to, they release harmful pollutants nga like particulate matter, nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide, and volatile organic compounds into the air. So this pollutant talagang mai-irritate nito yung respiratory system natin at mawaworsen yung mga existing condition natin like asthma, bronchitis, and increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases. So, yung sobrang exposure natin sa air pollution from fossil fuels combustion has been linked to various health problems. Kasama na dito yung lung cancer, heart attacks, stroke, and developmental disorder in children. Then sa mga marginalized communities naman, often bear a disproportionate burden of these health impacts due to the factors like proximity to polluting industry and inadequate access to health services. Yan. Okay. Now, let's shift our focus to alternative sources of energy. Na-mention ko na yung mga alternative sources energy kasi talagang ito yung only way para ma-address natin yung issues sa energy crisis. So, it offers sustainable solution to combat the energy crisis. So, itong alternative energy sources is nagpo-provide sa atin ng sustainable and renewable solution to the pressing challenge posed by traditional fossil fuels. So, by harnessing sources like solar, wind, hydroelectric, geothermal, we can address concerns surrounding energy security, environmental degradation, and climate change. So, these alternatives parang nag-offer siya ng abundant and clean energy, reducing reliance on the finite sources and na minimize nito yung greenhouse gas emission, di ba? Additionally, yung pag-invest ng renewable energy is nakakapag-foster ng economic growth, di ba? And it stimulate innovation and create jobs for everyone or create jobs opportunity. So, kapag in-embrace natin tong alternative energy sources is talagang napaka importante nito for building a more resilient and sustainable energy future that safeguards both planet and human prosperity. Yeah. So now, let's delve deeper into some key renewable sources and their potential to revolutionize our energy landscape. Yan. Tara. So, Renewable energy, as defined by Enger and Smith 2015, is derived from processes that naturally replenish themselves or consistently available within the solar system. So, despite this inherent sustainability, the global consumption of renewable energy only accounts for 15 to 20% of total energy mix. And galing to sa International Energy Agency or the IEA in 2016. However, there has been a notable 2.2% annual increase in renewable energy consumption since noong 1990, signifying a growing recognition of its importance. So, in terms sa electricity production, yung renewables stand as the second largest source globally. Yun. Trailing only behind coal, baga. So this statistic underscores the significant potential and increasing prominence of renewable energy in meeting global energy needs and mitigating environmental impact. So nagpapakita talaga dito na napakaganda na meron tayong renewable energy na gamitin natin ang mga renewable energy. So we have the first one, alternative energy sources. Isa siyang renewable energy din. We have the solar energy. And let's explore it. So it harnesses the sun's abundance and renewable energy for various purposes, including electricity generation, heating, and industrial process. So yung solar energy, like what I've said, the sun's abundance energy for various purposes, including yung industrial process nga, yung power ng mga buildings, transportation, and generating electricity. So, the process is start with, parang ito yung diagram, the process is start with solar irradiance, ayan, makikita nyo, from the sun, which captured by solar panels. So, these panels naman contains photovoltaic cells that convert sunlight into electricity through the flow of electrons. Yan. Then, this electricity can then be utilized to power loads, such as light bulbs, appliances, or machinery, completing the cycle of solar energy utilization. So, itong diagram na to illustrate how solar energy is converted into usable electricity to meet the wide range of needs in different sectors. Okay? So, let us move. Yan. I-explore pa natin yung mga types. Kasi merong mga types of solar energy. We have 4 types of solar energy system and let us know how they contribute to our sustainable energy future. So we have first one. We have solar thermal energy. So ito, solar thermal system, gumagamit siya ng sun's energy to generate high temperature thermal energy. And ginagamit ito directly or converted into electricity din. So, isa sa common type nito is the central receiver system or the central power tower. Yon. So, itong system na to, isa siyang large array of computer controlled mirror called heliotrops tracks na galing sa sun's movement and concentrate sunlight onto central collection tower. So, itong concentrated sunlight heats the working fluids, typically water, to produce steam daw. So, this steam then drives turbines to generate electricity. So, yun. And meron din tayong another type, which is the solar thermal plant. So, ito naman, gumagamit siya ng mirror to collect sunlight. But instead na nagpo-focus lang ito sa central tower, it directly hits water to produce steam for electricity generation. So both systems demonstrate how ang solar energy can be harnessed efficiently to generate electricity, offering sustainable alternative to traditional fossil fuels o power generation methods. Yun. Yan. Moving on to the second type of solar energy system, we have photovoltaic PV cells or solar cells. So, ito naman na yung solar energy can indeed be converted directly into electrical energy using modules composed of photovoltaic or PV cells or solar cells. So, ito na yon. So, itong mga modules na to are made up of semiconductor materials na kino-convert ang sunlight directly into electricity through the photovoltaic effect. So, in addition guys, to PV modules, there are two main types of solar energy conversion. We have concentration system and flat plate system. So, alamin natin yung pagkakaiba nito. We have first the concentration system. So, gumagamit ito ng lenses or curved mirrors to focus sunlight onto highly efficient solar cells. By concentrating sunlight, this system can increase the intensity of sunlight reaching the solar cells, thereby enhancing their efficiency in converting solar energy into electricity. On the other hand guys, yung flat plate system, gumagamit naman nito ng entire incident solar radiation, included dito yung direct and diffuse solar rays. So, etong system na to consists of flat solar panels that directly absorb sunlight and convert it into electricity na gumagamit ng PV cells or ginagamitan ito ng PV cells. While they may not achieve the same level, di ba, parang magkaiba sila of efficiency as concentration system, yung flat plate system is parang karaniwang ginagamit for various application due to their simplicity and reliability. So, nevertheless, both types of this system demonstrate different approach to harnessing solar energy efficiently, and it offers versatile solution for generating clean and renewable electricity. Yan. The third one, the solar building technology. So, ano naman to? So, itong solar building technology encompasses both active and passive heating and cooling system, and it offers sustainable solution for temperature and regulation in buildings. Yeah. So, we have first the active heating system na nag-employ ng collector to absorb solar energy. So, this is then used to provide hot water and space heating. And may pagkakapareho ito sa active cooling system na gumagamit ng solar desiccant technology to cool indoor environment by absorbing water vapor from the air. Di kagaya ng passive heating and cooling system na ito kasi nagre-rely ito sa building design and materials para makapag-regulate ng temperature without need for mechanical passive. System. Kasi yung passive heating method is included dito yung features like solar heating windows, yung trombe wall, na nag-absorb and nag-store ng solar heat to warm indoor spaces. Then yung passive cooling techniques naman is it involves strategic use of insulated materials, landscaping, and earth cooling tubes to reduce indoor temperatures naturally. So by harnessing the power of sunlight and optimizing building design, passive solar technology offer energy efficient solution for maintaining comfortable indoor environments while minimizing resilience on external energy sources. Lastly, we'll discuss an innovative application of solar energy, the solar cookers. So ito naman, these are an ingenious way to harness the power of sunlight for cooking food and pasteurizing drinks. So they are cost effective and suitable for both small and large scale needs. So the conventional solar cooker typically consists of insulated box large enough to hold several pots. So yung transparent top nito, nag-aalaw siya ng sunlight to enter and heat the interior. In addition naman, sa design nito, there are also solar cookers with parabolic reflectors. So, ito yung reflectors kasi nito, concentrate sunlight and heat to single focal point, allowing to efficient cooking. Yon. Next, the second alternative energy sources, we have renewable energy source, hydroelectric power. So, yung hydroelectric power or hydroelectricity is generated from the movement of water in rivers, streams, and canals. And we have here three main methods for generating hydroelectric power. And we have hydroelectric power plants. So, let us first know the three hydroelectric power generation methods. Yan. We have small scales, large scales, and pump storage. So yung small scales is it involves low dams without reservoir na um, constructed across river or streams. And gumagamit ito ng natural flow of water to spin turbines para makapag-generate ng electricity. So, etong system na to is suitable siya for small scales application that can be deployed in various location na walang parang merong consistent flow of water. Then we have naman the large scale hydropower. So, gumagamit ito ng high dams unlike sa small scale para makapag-create ng reservoir on large rivers. So, it controls the flow of water through the turbines via large pipe or penstock. Then the potential energy stored in the water at higher elevation is nako-convert siya into electricity as water flows through turbines. Then next naman, the third one, pump storage. Ito naman is it involves recycling water between reservoir located at different elevation. So during periods of low electricity demand, its surplus electricity is nagagamit to pump water from lower reservoir to high one. Then kapag naman yung electricity demand is high, water is released from the higher reservoir to flow downhill through turbines, generating electricity. Yun yun. Yan, next, i-explore naman natin ang environmental and ecological challenges of electric power plants. So, meron itong environmental and ecological issue and impacts on wildlife. So, ayan, human displacement. So, nakukuha ito sa um, construction of large dam and it can lead to the displacement of human population living in the area kung saan nakatanim yung plant nga, yung hydroelectric. So, then, changes in water quality, kumbaga. So, yung process where sediment accumulates behind the dams can degrade water quality downstream. Additionally, yung altered water flow can impact the natural balance of ecosystem. Then, ano naman yung mga impact sa wildlife? So, yung disruption of natural migration patterns. Kumbaga yung dam can obstruct the migration routes of fish species such as salmon and disrupting their life cycle and breeding patterns. So, this can have cascading effect on entire aquatic system. Then, sa pagdating naman sa food patterns for wildlife, so yung fish na apektuhan. So, maapektuhan din nito yung ibang mammals like birds. I mean, mammals and birds kasi yung kunyari, yung primary food nila is yung fish. Yun. And the third one, let's dive into the world of tidal power, another promising alternative energy sources. So ito naman, it harnesses energy generated from the natural movement of ocean, including wave, tides, and temperature gradient. Pag sinabing temperature gradient, parang paiba-iba, kumbaga, mix sila yung temperature. Then, meron tayong two of the most common mechanism used to capture tidal waves. These are the ocean thermal energy conversion or the OTEC and the tidal power system. Okay, tingnan natin to, dalawang to. Let's explore this. Yan, we have first the ocean thermal energy conversion or the OTEC. So ito naman, yung ocean thermal, gumagamit ito ng temperature difference between warm surface water and the cold deep water to generate electricity. So, yun nga, yung sinabi ko kanina, temperature gradient typically found at the depths of about 100 meter or more is a key factor in the operation of OTEC plants. Then, then, yung seawater talaga is the primary working fluid in OTEC system. So, yung warm surfaces water is used to vaporize a low boiling points working fluids such as ammonia in heat exchanger. So, yon. Kaya nga, kapag yung seawater turns into steam, it drives to the turbine to create power before it condenses back to water once the temperature cools. The next, the tidal power system. Ito naman, it harness energy from the natural movements of tides using various mechanisms, with one common approach involving the construction of dam across the bay. So, yung dam, gumagamit ito ng um, gates and turbines capture and para makakapture ng energy from flowing water at tides rise and fall. So, kapag yung tide flows in, water is allowed to enter the bay through the gates, driving the turbine connected to the generator to produce electricity. Kapag naman yung tide recedes, water released back into the ocean, and the process repeats with each tide cycle. Yun. Next up, we will unravel the potential of wind power as an alternative energy sources. So, ito naman yung wind power harnesses the energy generated by the winds, which result from temperature gradient in between the different region of Earth's surface, such as between the equator and the temperature or polar region. Kumbaga, with ito ng wind turbines are ginagamit ito to capture this energy and convert it into electricity. Yan. So, etong wind turbine rows kasi often seen in wind farm na merong multiple wind turbines arranged in a row across the open land or offshore location. So, tingnan natin. Let's dig deeper about this. Yan. So wind power is indeed highly efficient and cost-effective and eco-friendly din, and it offers numerous benefits as renewable energy. But meron din itong mga several factors na i-consider for its optimal utilization. Kabilang dito yung location, then the wind data, the backup system, then the risk, then kasi despite na sa mga risk na ito, yung challenges ng wind power, parang it remains a low waste energy source with significant environmental benefits compared to fossil fuels based. So, kapag meron tayong careful planning, mitigation measures, and ongoing research and development, wind power continues to play a vital role in the transition towards sustainable future. Yeah. Then next, let's uncover the potential of biomass as renewable energy source. So ito naman na biomass, itong isa siyang renewable energy source derived from the organic material such as plant material, animal material, animal material or animal waste. Yon. So here's matatakal natin yung sources nito, yung kung paano tong yung conversion process nito, advantage and disadvantages, and lastly, the environmental impacts and sustainability consideration. So let us first know the sources of it. So yung biomass can be sourced from various organic materials including wood, often used for cooking and heating purposes. Then industrial waste derived from lumber mills, paper mills, and sugar cane. Then agricultural residue includes straw and stalk left on farmland, yan, which can be converted into biofuels like ethanol. Then animal waste din. Yung organic waste from the livestock farming, which can be used for biogas production. So meron pa din yung energy crops, specifically grown for energy production such as sugarcane, corn, sugar beets, grains, and palm. So, example ng biomass sources and their application include using wood for heating. Sabi ko na yun. Utilizing industrial waste from paper mills or sugarcane factories. Then, converting agricultural residue like straw into the ethanol and cultivating energy crops like sugarcane or corn for energy production. So, lahat yon. So, I have here parang example diagram kung paano ba. Um, parang kung paano ba nagkakaroon ng paano ba ang paggawa ng process ng galing sa bioenergy. So, from bioenergy na mga nabanggit ko kanina, itong mga wood, industrial waste, agricultural, and etc. So, nilalagay siya sa pellet mill. Then, kapag nagiling na siya sa pellet mill, ayun na, pellet na siya. Alam ko familiar na sa inyo itong pellet. So, itong pellet, pwede siyang pang animal feed, ginagamit din siya for heating, pero yung best talaga for heating is yung wood, di ba? Then, pwede din itong gamiting fertilizer. So, yun. So, next naman yung conversion processes. So, we have first combustion. So, yung biomass is burned directly to produce heat and electricity. So, yung process na to is commonly used in residual heating system, industrial boilers, and biomass power plant. The next, we have cogeneration or the combined heat and power or the CHP. So, yung biomass naman is ginagamit dito to simultaneously produce heat and electricity. So itong CHP system are highly efficient, utilizing the heat generated during the electricity production for heating or other industrial processes. Then we have ethanol production. So yung Biomass, particularly crops like corns or sugarcane, can be fermented to produce ethanol. So, a renewable energy transportation fuel. Parang ganun. So, itong process na to involves breaking down biomass sugar into the alcohol through fermentation. Yan. Then, we have anaerobic digestion. So, yung biomass naman nito, nag-undergo siya ng bacterial decomposition in the process of, in the absence of oxygen, producing biogas, a mixture of methane and carbon dioxide as a bioproduct. So, anaerobic digestion, parang common siya na gamitin to treat organic waste such as animal manure or food scrap while also generating renewable energy. Ayun. Lastly, we have pyrolysis. Ito naman, yung solid biomass is heated in the absence of oxygen to produce biochar or bio-oil or syngas. So, yung pyrolysis is a thermochemical process that can convert biomass into various biofuels, pwede din chemical and other valuable products. Yan. Now, let's ano naman the advantage and disadvantages disadvantages of biomass. Sorry. So, renewable and diverse biomass is derived from organic materials, 'di ba? Such as plant matter, animal waste, and agricultural residue, making it a renewable and versatile energy. Yan. So, yung potential electricity generation, yan, itong dito. Yung biomass can be utilized for electricity generation through various conversion process including combustion and cognition and anaerobic digestion. So, yun yung advantages nito. How about naman the disadvantages nito? So, the emission of carbon dioxide. So, meron pala to and methane. So, meron yung iba kasing biomass conversion process na na-mention ko kanina such as combustion and anaerobic digestion, nagre-release ito guys ng greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane, contributing to a climate change and air pollution. Next, we have depletion of soil nutrients. Ito naman yung continuous cycle of biomass conversion, especially when biomass residues are not turned to the soil, can lead to depletion of essential nutrients, affecting soil fertility and productivity or productivity. Then, meron din tong environmental impacts. So, sourcing biomass may involve activities such as deforestation, land clearing, and extensive agriculture. So, it leads to habitat loss, biodiversity depletion, and soil erosion. So, ito yung mga environmental impact, kumbaga. Yan. Then next, we have environmental impacts and sustainability consideration. So, in environmental impacts naman, meron tayo ditong deforestation. The use of woods as biomass fuel. Parang nakapag-contribute ito to deforestation leading to habitat loss. So yung parang yung diversity na decline and the disruption in ecosystem function. Then, habitat destruction. Next naman, clearing land for energy crops such as yung corn or sugarcane can result in habitat destruction and ecosystem depletion. So, for next, we have naman sustainability consideration, the proper resource management. So, yung sustainable management of biomass resource is essential to ensure long-term availability and na babawasan nito yung negative environmental impacts. Yun. So, yun. Then we have lastly the geothermal energy. So it harnesses heat originating from the Earth's interior, including soil, underground rocks, volcanic rocks, geysers, and hot spring. So patatakal natin dito yung geothermal energy sources and heat system. So meron tayong three source of geothermal system. And let's see kung ano ba ang mga ito. So, we have molten rocks, hot dry rock zone, warm rocks, reservoir deposit. So, yung molten rocks, um, deep within the Earth's mantle generate intense heat. So, yun nga, nakakapag ano siya ng high temperature. Then, mahanap ito deep below the Earth's surface, typically associated with volcanic activity. So, subspace presence. Yun. Then, molten rocks serve as the primary source of geothermal heat. So, primary source siya. Then, heat transfer medium. So, yung heat from the molten rocks transfer to surrounding rocks and water, creating geothermal reservoir. Then, next naman, yung characteristic ng hot, dry rock zone. So, areas where molten rocks hit subs, parang subsurfaces rocks to high temperature. So, yung intense heat in this zone can be tapped for geothermal energy extraction. Then, lastly, the characteristic of warm rock reservoir deposit. So, from low to moderate temperature, na suitable talaga for heat pumps. So, this reservoir offer potential for geothermal energy extraction, particularly for heating and cooling application. So, ito yung mga iba pang information about geothermal heat system para mas lalo natin maintindihan. So, it utilizes pipes and duct pumps to transfer heat or absorb heat from buildings. Then, um, acts nag-act ito as an effective heat source in winter and heat sink in summer din. Yan. Then, the underground reservoir, yung composition nito, the dry stream, wet stream, and hot water. So, yung dry stream, nag-consist siya ng water vapor without water droplets. Then, yung wet naman contains a mixture of water vapor and water droplets. And ito naman na hot water, matatagpuan ito sa fracture of porous rocks in the Earth's crust. Yan. Then, destruction method naman with drilling wells. Ano tong drilling wells? Malalaman natin to. Parang extract dry and wet stream as well as hot water din from reservoir near the Earth's surface. Yun. Then, about naman sa types ng reservoir content nito, sa dry stream, predominantly water vapor siya. Then wet stream naman, combination of water vapor and droplets, like what I've said kanina. Yan. Yan na ano ko na pala. Next, let's discuss the status of renewable energy in the Philippines and its implication for country's energy future. So, yung mga renewable energy na discuss natin kanina, which are the solar, hydro, the tidal, the wind, the geothermal, the biomass. So, tingnan natin kung meron ito sa Philippines, kung ginagamit din ba ito sa Philippines. So, ito. Renewable sources in the Philippines include solar, hydropower, wind power, biomass, and geothermal. So, wala lang tong um, tidal. Wala siyang tidal. Yung government din ng Philippines may goal and initiative. Ito yung kumbaga parang nag-set ng ambitious goal and implemented various initiative para makapag-promote ng renewable energy development in the countries, aligning with broader objectives of sustainability, economic growth, and environmental protection. Yan. The next, the legislation. So ito ang the Republic Act 9513 or also known as the Renewable Energy Act of 2008. Ito yung landmark legislation in the Philippines na yung goal nito is to promote the and development of utilization of energy sources. So, yun. Um, objective nila para objective nila is to achieve energy self-reliance. Yan, reducing dependence on fossil fuels. Yan, promoting the use of clean energy, then mitigating climate change, and many more. And also, nagpo-provide din to ng fiscal and non-fiscal incentive. Yan. So, the Department of Energy or DOE provides valuable data on renewable energy potential in the Philippines. So it offers insight into the capacity and feasibility of our renewable energy sources. So yan, meron tayong data provided by the Department of I mean the potential different renewable we have solar, hydropower, wind, biomass or biofuels and geothermal energy. Yan. So, in the Philippines, it also has seen a notable increase in renewable energy shares over the years, reflecting efforts to diversify the energy mix and promote sustainable development. So, here's the breakdown. We have the increase in renewable energy shares from 27% in 2010 to 34% in 2015. Yan. Then breakdown of capacity across different renewable sources. Yeah, megawatts or MW as unit of measurement. Ayan. Last but not the least, let's explore how we can collectively move towards a more sustainable and the future. Yan. Okay. This outline the various strategy and action that can contribute to building a sustainable energy future. So we have 5 strategy. Tingnan natin. Yeah, improving energy efficiency. So, ito, it is crucial for transitioning towards a sustainable future by increasing fuel efficiency standard for vehicle, buildings, and appliances, government, ano pa rin. So, yung governments talagang can incentivize the adaptation of energy saving technology and practices. For example, para nagkaroon ng stricter regulation, vehicle emission, and fuel economy. So it drives automotive manufacturer to produce more fuel-efficient cars and nakakapag-reduce din ng greenhouse gas emission and dependent on fossil fuels. Yan. Then the second one, promoting renewable energy. So ito naman yung government play a critical role in promoting renewable energy through strategic policy measures. So, sa pag-offer ng substantial subsidies and tax credits, they can incentivize the adoption of renewable energy sources, and it make them more financially as attractive for investor and consumers. They say, simultaneously, Phasing out subsidies and imposing taxes on fossil fuels shift the economic landscape in favor of renewables. Yan. And it reflects talaga their true environmental cost. Yan. Then the third one, the individual action. Third strategy. So, napaka-importante nito in fostering sustainability and reducing energy consumption. So, opting for sustainable modes of transportation such as walking, biking, and using public transportation not only reduces carbon emission, but also promotes healthier lifestyle. Yan. So, parang yung paggamit ng passive solar heating and cooling methods din in buildings such as designing windows and fans strategically. Minention ko kanina doon sa mga alternative sources din, can maximize natural light and airflow. And it reduces the need for artificial heating and cooling, kung baga. Yan. Then, policy measures. Ano naman tong policy measures? Napaka-importante nito in driving systemic change towards a sustainable energy future. Kumbaga, dapat yung government can implement regulatory measures to to enforce energy efficient standard, ensuring that industry, business, and household adhere to guidelines aimed and reducing energy consumption and dapat makapag-promote ng adoption of energy sources or technology. Yan. And lastly, we have education and awareness initiative. So it plays a vital role in empowering individuals, business, and communities to make informed decisions that contribute to a sustainable energy future. So by increasing the public awareness about the importance of sustainable energy, yung impact ng individual, action, and government and organization, talagang mai-inspire nito yung behavioral change and it can foster talaga culture of environmental responsibility. So, importante na ma-educate ang individual, ang business, and communities about the benefits of renewable energy and energy efficiency is equally talaga essential. So, through workshop din, campaigns, and educational programs, stakeholder can learn about environmental, economic, and social advantages of transitioning to renewable energy sources and um, adapting energy efficient practices. So, yon. So, in conclusion, guys, as we've journeyed through the complexities of the energy crisis and explore alternative sources of energy, it's evident naman talaga that the choices we make today profoundly impact our tomorrow. So, dapat i-embrace natin ang mga renewable energy sources para makapag-promote ng energy conservation and makapag-foster ng global collaboration. So, we pave the way for sustainable future. So, together, let's embark on this journey of environment, ensuring the brighter tomorrow for generation to come. So, empowering today, ensuring tomorrow. Let's conserve energy for a sustainable future. Thank you, everyone.